She walked into my office covered in blood that was not hers, looked me straight in the eyes and said she had killed the man she loved. But here's the thing. I was already in love with her, and I had 24 hours to prove she was innocent before she confessed to a murder I knew she did not commit. My name is Detective Marcus Stone. I have spent 2 decades solving murders, but I never thought I would fall in love with a woman who claimed to be a killer. This is the case that blurred every line I swore I would never cross. The case where justice and desire became the same dangerous thing. They call it the Scarlet Confession. I call it the night I almost destroyed everything I believed in. It started on a Friday evening in March. I was working late at my desk when she walked through my office door. Her name was Vivian Cross. She wore a black dress that clung to her like a second skin, and her dark hair fell in waves over her shoulders. But it was not her beauty that stopped my heart. It was the blood. Crimson stains covered her hands and splattered across her collarbone like violent abstract art. She did not look panicked. She did not look afraid. She looked at me with eyes so green they could cut through steel, and she said 4 words that changed everything. I killed him, Marcus. Not, I killed someone. Not, I killed a man. She used my first name like we were lovers who shared secrets in the dark, like she knew me. And the thing that terrified me most was that I wanted her to know me. I asked her to sit down. I asked her who she killed. She told me his name was Vincent Moreau, a real estate mogul, her fiancé. She said she stabbed him 17 times in his penthouse apartment overlooking the city. She described the way the knife felt in her hand, the way his blood pooled on the marble floor, the way his eyes went empty while he stared at her. She gave me every detail a guilty person would give. But something was wrong. Everything about her confession was too perfect, too rehearsed, like she had memorized a script written by someone else. I had been a detective long enough to know when someone was lying, but I also knew when someone was telling a truth that was not the whole truth. So I made a decision that would haunt me. I told her I would investigate before I arrested her. I told her she had 24 hours, and then I did something I had never done in my entire career. I let a confessed murderer walk out of my office. Because somewhere between the moment she said my name and the moment she described the killing, I realized I wanted to save her. Not because I believed in her innocence, but because I could not imagine a world where those green eyes looked at me from behind prison bars. I went to Vincent Moreau's penthouse that night. The scene was exactly as she described. 17 stab wounds, blood everywhere, marble floors, overlooking the city. But there were inconsistencies. The angle of the wounds suggested someone taller than Vivian. The blood spatter pattern indicated the killer was left-handed. Vivian was right-handed. I had noticed when she placed her hand on my desk. The security footage showed her entering the building at 9:40 p.m. The coroner estimated time of death between 8 and 8:30 p.m. She could not have killed him. So why was she confessing? I dug into Vincent Moreau's life. On the surface, he was a successful businessman. Charities, galas, political connections. But underneath, he was a predator. 3 women had filed restraining orders against him that mysteriously disappeared from public records. 2 former employees had accused him of assault, and then suddenly dropped the charges and left the city. And Vivian Cross had been engaged to him for 8 months. I found her at a bar in the downtown district at 2 a.m. She was drinking whiskey neat and staring at her reflection in the mirror behind the bottles. I sat down next to her. I told her I knew she did not kill Vincent. I asked her why she was lying. She turned to me, and for the first time I saw something break in those green eyes. She told me about Vincent, how he was charming in public and a monster in private, how he controlled every aspect of her life, who she saw, where she went, what she wore, how he would hurt her and then apologize with diamonds and roses, how she tried to leave 3 times, and each time he found her and made her regret it. She showed me the scars hidden under her dress, cigarette burns on her ribs, a twisted ankle that never healed right, finger-shaped bruises that had faded but left their ghost on her skin. She said she had been planning to kill him. She had bought the knife. She had chosen the night. She had walked into his penthouse ready to end it. But when she arrived, he was already dead, stabbed 17 times, and standing over his body was someone she never expected, her younger sister, Lily Cross, 19 years old, art student. Innocent eyes and trembling hands covered in blood. Lily had found out what Vincent was doing to Vivian. She had confronted him. He had laughed. He had called Vivian his property. He had said things about what he planned to do to Lily next. So Lily had picked up the knife Vivian had hidden in her purse during a previous visit, and she had killed him. 17 times. One for every month Vivian had suffered. Vivian made her sister leave. She cleaned Lily's fingerprints. She covered the scene with her own presence. And then she came to me to confess because she knew I had a reputation. She knew I closed cases. She knew if she confessed, the investigation would stop and no one would look for anyone else. She was willing to go to prison for the rest of her life to save her sister. I should have arrested her right there. Obstruction of justice, accessory after the fact, evidence tampering. But instead, I ordered another whiskey, and I asked her a question that I had no right to ask. I asked her if she trusted me. She looked at me like I had just offered her salvation and damnation in the same breath. She said yes. So I made another decision that broke every rule in my book. I told her I would handle it. I went back to the crime scene. I examined everything again, and I found what I was looking for. Vincent Moreau had enemies, real ones. A business partner named Derek Sutton, who Vincent had embezzled $3 million from. I pulled Derek's records. He had been in the city that night. His alibi was weak. He drove a car that matched a vehicle seen near the penthouse. He was left-handed. I built a case, not a false one, a real one. Because Derek Sutton actually had means, motive, and opportunity. The evidence pointed to him as much as it pointed to anyone. I presented it to my captain. I presented it to the district attorney. They bought it. Derek Sutton was arrested. Vivian's confession was dismissed as a traumatized woman trying to make sense of her abuser's death. The case closed. Justice was served. Or at least the version of justice that let me sleep at night. But here is where it gets complicated. After the trial ended, after Derek Sutton was sentenced, after Vivian was free, she came to see me again. It was late. My office was empty. She stood in the doorway wearing that same black dress, and this time there was no blood. She thanked me. She told me I saved her life, and then she kissed me. It was not a grateful kiss. It was not a polite kiss. It was the kind of kiss that erases the past and rewrites the future. The kind that makes you forget your badge and your oath and every line you swore you would never cross. We started seeing each other, quietly, secretly, because a detective dating a woman connected to a closed murder case would raise questions. We would meet in hotel rooms on the edge of the city. We would talk for hours about everything except the case. She told me about her childhood, her dreams, the life she wanted to build now that she was free. And I told her things I had never told anyone, about the cases that haunted me, the victims I could not save, the darkness that lived in the space between right and wrong. For 6 months we existed in this secret world, and I convinced myself it was real, that what we had was love and not just two broken people finding comfort in shared secrets. Then one night she told me the truth. We were lying in bed. The city lights filtered through the curtains. Her head was on my chest. And she said it so quietly I almost did not hear. She told me Derek Sutton was innocent. She told me Lily had indeed killed Vincent. But she also told me that she had planned it. She had manipulated Lily into going to the penthouse. She had left the knife where Lily would find it. She had pushed her sister's rage until it exploded. Because Vivian knew Lily would never survive prison. But Vivian could. So she had engineered the whole thing. She had come to me covered in staged blood, not to confess, but to see if I would be the kind of detective who looked deeper. And when I did, she had fed me Derek Sutton's name. She had pointed me toward the business partner. She had given me just enough to build a case. I was not the hero who saved her. I was the weapon she used to get away with murder. I should have felt rage. I should have felt betrayed. But all I felt was a sick, twisted admiration. Because Vivian Cross had done what I had been doing my entire career. She had manipulated the truth to create the outcome she wanted. She had bent justice to fit her narrative. She had played the game better than I ever had. I asked her why she was telling me this now. She said because she loved me. Because she could not keep lying to the one person who understood her. Because she wanted me to know all of her. The good, the bad, the monstrous. I had two choices. I could turn her in, reopen the case, destroy Derek Sutton's conviction, ruin my career, prove that I had been manipulated and that I had sent an innocent man to prison. Or I could stay silent, keep the secret, live with the knowledge that the woman I loved was a killer and I was complicit. I looked at her green eyes in the darkness, and I made my choice. I got dressed, I walked to the door, and I told her that I never wanted to see her again. Not because I did not love her, but because I loved her too much. Because if I stayed, I would forgive her. I would rationalize it. I would become the kind of detective who bends justice for the people he loves. And I had already crossed too many lines. She did not cry. She did not beg. She just nodded like she understood, like she had always known this was how it would end. I left that hotel room and I never went back. I reopened Derek Sutton's case, quietly, on my own time. I found new evidence that exonerated him. It took me 8 months, but I got him released. I did not implicate Vivian or Lily. I built a case that pointed to reasonable doubt. Derek walked free. The case remains unsolved, and Vivian Cross disappeared. Some nights I still think about her, about the way she said my name, about the way her kiss tasted like secrets and sin, about the monster she was and the man I almost became for her. Because that is the thing about dark romance. It is not about good people finding love. It is about broken people finding someone who understands their brokenness. And sometimes, understanding is more dangerous than hate. I am Detective Marcus Stone, and I learned that justice is not always black and white. Sometimes, it is scarlet, like blood, like lies, like the kiss of a woman who taught me that the worst criminals are not the ones who break the law. They are the ones who make you want to break it for them. Until next time, stay vigilant, because the most dangerous person you will ever meet is the one who makes you forget who you are.